Hi everyone, my name is Madie Callahan. I'm a developmental specialist with the PACE program, and I'm going to talk to you today about 9 steps that we can do to improve your kids' eating. This has been adapted from the website www.yourkidstable.com. There's some great resources there, and I'm going to go over this one with you. So some things to keep in mind before we start. Please do not feel bad as we're going through this if you are not doing all of these things. This is definitely a learning process for everyone. And we just want to give you some strategies and suggestions to try if you're not already doing them. Also, don't feel pressure to change your entire routine all at once. Do not feel like you need to include all 9 steps into your day tomorrow. Pick 1 or 2 things to change at a time and then give everyone time to adjust to those before adding on a new thing. And as we all know, picky eating does not have a one-size-fits-all solution. So it's really important that we find what works best for your child and your family. The first step I want to talk to you about is no pressure. Although sometimes it feels like there's no other way, we never want to force kids to eat. This is because eating should be a pleasurable experience for everyone involved, including you. So we don't want to change it into a negative or stressful one by making a child eat when he or she doesn't want to. If you do feel like the only way to get your child to eat is by force feeding, it may be time for a feeding evaluation, which we can talk about a little bit later. The second step is to set a schedule. Many times kids will graze during the day, just kind of eating snacks or juice here and there. But when they're doing this, they're eating just enough to suppress their appetite. And when they do that, they won't get hungry enough to eat a meal. So they're just snacking and snacking, but their stomach is never empty enough to be like, oh, maybe we should eat a meal now. It's suggested that kids should eat their first meal about a half an hour after they wake up. So I've included a sample routine here. Obviously, adjust it to your child's schedule. So this one would be like breakfast at 8:30, lunch at 11:30, nap at 12:30, snack at 4, dinner at 6:30, bedtime maybe at 7:30. If your child sleeps longer during naps, you can always do a bedtime snack to replace the snack before dinner. The third step is to eat at a table. This does not mean everyone needs to eat at a formal dinner table. I don't even own a formal dinner table, so I'm not going to tell you that you need to too. If your child is not already sitting at a table to eat, you can start by having them sit at like a folding table or a coffee table to kind of get them used to it. Many kids enjoy sitting at a small kids table, which you can, find many different places. Work toward moving the table away from a TV. So if your child is used to, sitting in front of the TV, they're on the floor, on the couch while they're eating, let's start introducing the table and then we can kind of start moving it farther and farther away. And we'll discuss this at a later step as well. The fourth step is to try to eat together. Kids are great at imitating what they see and hear, as I'm sure you have all experienced. So let them watch how you use utensils, how you take bites, how you chew foods. They will be more inclined to want to do it themselves after they see you do it. I know it can be super hard to find the time to do this. So do what you can. Maybe you can start with, 2 or 3 days a week really committing to trying to eat with your child. Or like 1 meal a day. Maybe it's breakfast, maybe it's dinner. We want to start to model the eating behavior that we want them to be doing. The fifth step is to set an example. So, to reiterate from the last slide, kids will imitate what you say and do. If you see a food that maybe it is not your favorite and you make a face at that food or make negative comments about a food, your child will be more likely to do the same even before trying the food themselves. So giving food negative labels such as bad or gross or stinky can give the child the idea that there are indeed bad foods out there. So we want to try to let them try foods for themselves without giving them a biased opinion. So if it's a food you don't like, I'm not going to make you eat it in front of them. But maybe turn your face if you don't think that you can control it, or, just don't let them know how you feel about it before they've tried it. The sixth step is no short orders. Try really hard not to ask your child what they want for dinner. Chances are they will give you one of the few foods that they know and love, such as pizza. Instead, you can have your child help you make dinner plans. So maybe give them choices between 2 vegetables or a side dish so they feel like they have some control without actually giving them all of the control of the meal. If we are always giving children their preferred food, doing some short orders for them, they'll learn that they don't have to eat what you're serving the rest of the family. So we really want to stay away from making them, like their own separate meal and trying to incorporate them into the meal that you are planning. The 7th step is to have one preferred food per meal. So although this does kind of sound contradictory to the last step, this does not mean that the entire meal is made up of preferred foods. So by including one food that the child consistently eats, or in the cases of extreme picky eating, a food that your child will eat on occasion, this makes the meal less intimidating. So for example, if your child loves applesauce, maybe you can make something like a meat for them to try, a vegetable, but also give them some applesauce with that meal. We're not asking them to, throw caution to the wind and eat a whole plate full of mystery foods. If they have that applesauce there, it's kind of like a little safety for them. So they can try all the other foods that they maybe don't feel so safe about. Step 8 is to give your child a variety of foods. And if we're always giving a child the same preferred food each meal, that child will come to expect it. So even if we are giving them that one preferred food that we talked about last time, the website suggests that we don't serve the same food 2 days in a row or try really hard not to. So if we're always giving them applesauce as their preferred food, that one meal that you try something else and you don't give them applesauce, they're probably going to notice and they may be upset. We also want to take this opportunity to introduce new foods to the child at meals in very small amounts. The website says about a size of a quarter will do when introducing these new foods onto their plate. The 9th step is no distractions. This one can be really hard. Even just speaking for myself, I feel like it's so easy to become distracted and turn eating into a mindless activity. I'm always on my phone, I'm reading, I'm watching a show on TV. But we want to try to avoid this habit early. So try to avoid giving your child a tablet, turning the TV on, giving them a phone, giving them toys while they're eating in order to distract them, because what we want is to teach our children that we want them to actively eat, and we want this to be a pleasurable experience, not one that we need to distract from, which kind of sounds similar to what we talked about back in step 1. Now that we have gone through the 9 strategies, here are just a few more things to keep in mind. This is not an exhaustive list. These were just the strategies that have been proven to be the most helpful. There are many more things out there that we can try that may work for you and your family. If you do try one or all of these and they don't work for you, do not be discouraged. Practice makes perfect. Maybe we just need to make a little tweak or take a break and come back to it to make it more effective for you. There are specialists out there to help you all along the way. There's feeding therapists, occupational therapists, speech language pathologists, developmental specialists. Do not be afraid to ask for help. A good first step is to talk through your service providers through the PACE program and kind of see where they think you should go next. Perhaps you can work on some of your feeding concerns with the PACE program, working during your home instructions, or they may feel that a feeding evaluation would be more effective, which is a little bit more intensive than what we do in the homes. But most importantly, you are not alone. This can feel like a very frustrating and isolating time, but we are here to help you all along the way, and there are many families who are experiencing very similar situations. For additional information and resources, you can visit www.yourkidstable.com.